front. Now we're going to see a little four-wide action. Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets over in the lead on the record.
3 by 3 entering 4.
3 deep. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega.
Hello everybody, welcome into Talladega Superspeedway live for race 1 in the round of 16 to kick off the playoffs for Tuesday Night Thunder presented by RMR Money Racing. Joining me in the booth tonight, as always, co-host Dawson Wise. Dawson, we have been waiting for this moment throughout quite of the season, and here we are, time for some playoff racing. How you doing tonight?
Racing, 16 guys ready to go at it for those championship pots at the end of the season. This is going to be a fun, exciting couple weeks here as we're still in the round of 16 guys for 8 spots here the next couple weeks. So can't wait to see where this one goes. And the playoff field, it is loaded. It is a very, very strong group of drivers.
Well, you got that right. Well, let's get things kicked off. Let you know right off the get-go that the drivers you see highlighted in yellow, their number that is, and then that have the P next to their name, are the drivers that made it into the round of 16. And so kicking us off on pole, how about it? One of your round of 16 drivers, it's Jason Maines. To his outside will start Tucker McClendon. Good to see him coming back to the money racing scene. Took a little bit of a break for a while. Jeff Merck, he will roll off third. It's going to be Garrett Maines back in fourth. Michael Triscaro in fifth. Dale Cup will have Steve Korsek starting to his outside in sixth. Cody Nagels, John Mullihan making up row number 4. It's going to be Andrew Navarro in ninth. And another playoff driver, John Ward, rounding out your top 10.
Zach Lima, another Dale Cup entry, rolls from 11th with Logan New York, our last playoff driver in the field, rolling from 12th. Damon Gilbert will roll from 13th tonight. Justin Mills for Hyper Motorsports in 14th. Kevin Freese in the 15th position with Matthew Baker of NBG to his outside in 16th. Another playoff car. Row number 9 will be all playoff drivers. Jared Mogart in the 00 and Dylan Jones in the 11. And rounding out the top 20 will be George Bark and Brock Westmoreland.
21st, we'll start Christopher McCall from McCall Motorsports. To his outside is his teammate, Ken McCall Jr. Ron Morris Jr. is going to be race controlling, I believe. Not sure if he's racing, so we'll scratch that entry for now. Tony Cox back in 24th. And rounding out row 13 and the field here tonight, it's going to be David Sheets and Mark Von Dell for McCall Motorsports. Taking a look at your race info here tonight. Track that we're very used to by now, it's Talladega Superspeedway, one of the baddest, fastest superspeedways in all of NASCAR. Again, race 1 here, the round of 16, so we are in the Xfinity Series. Same laps as usual, make it 60. Everybody, though, 50% fuel, so that's going to be about 20 laps for these guys. We'll know more on that later in this race. Everybody going to have unlimited tires, that one fast pair in your pocket if you need it. Fixed setups, and then, of course, a stage break on the end of lap 20. Looking into a little more detail of this super speedway, 2.65 miles is the length, 83 degrees the starting track temp, so handling shouldn't be too big of an issue right off the get-go. Weather outside, 72 degrees, 48% humidity with partly cloudy skies, and winds currently at 2 miles an hour. Before we get going, I want to say thank you all that have tuned out up to this point. Get ready for a good night, and it looks like already got some people in the chat. Fitz, Casey, Heath, Joe, Baker's mom. Good to see you guys all out here. Hope you are enjoying your Tuesday. Ready to watch these guys go at it for 60 laps. And now, Dawson, format tonight, pretty similar to the NASCAR chase in the sense of if one of these one of the round of 16 guys get the win, they automatically advance to the next round, which would take the stress off next week at Daytona.
Absolutely it would, and certainly you got a bunch of playoff guys here at the front of the field looking to set the tone and get themselves into the round of 8 early, get the work out of the way.
All right, so here we go. Field getting all lined up, double filed out as the pace car will make the left turn for the first time here tonight. Stage 1, going to be 20 laps on the drop of the green as we go to the flag stand now. He's ready to go, and so are we. Race 1 of the round of 16 for Tuesday Night Thunder Playoff. Season 3 is underway at Talladega.
Off of turn number 2 and onto the Alabama gang super stretch for the first time. Jason Maines, Jeff Merck had the bottom line rolling in a big way. Tucker McClendon with help from Garrett Maines and Steve Karosik up top. You figure that line would move more. Now it starts to roll here in turn number 3 and off into 3 and 4 for the first time. Poke the nose of the 24. Miller Wafers Toyota Supra out front for the first time. Tucker McClendon to the lead, trying to play spoiler here tonight off turn number 4.
Well, I talked about him just coming back recently, but boy, he's getting comfortable real quick, and he will drop to the bottom in front of a very good pusher and Jason Maines now. Both of the Maines guys, you see Garrett on the outside now looking for the lead off the bumper of Steve Korsak, and Jason in the round of 16 looking to make a berth into the round of 8 after the race here tonight. But how about that third lane, Dawson? Here we go. Matthew Baker, Dylan Jones. Now Navarro will jump high off of 2.
It's the playoff, guys. What do we expect? Some of these more aggressive playoff drivers that started near the back. We had open qualifying tonight, so some poor qualifying efforts for guys you're used to seeing start up front. It just kind of, made it a lottery almost as to who could get the best lap time in that open format. But you see Baker, Navarro, Jones, Westmoreland, Chris McCullough wasting no time. They want to be up here at the front. They know what's at stake tonight, and already it's 3x3, 6 rows deep all the way back off turn number 4.
And remember, everybody good to go on fuel for this first stage. Oh, man, that was a big push. It looked like the 24. Tucker McClendon got a little out of line there off of 4. Maines had to let him catch it. That'll lose a little momentum as the top really rolls as they cross the start-finish line. That lap will go to Andrew Navarro. He gets clear of Garrett Maines as he jumps all the way to the middle. Now it's Steve Korsak going all the way to the bottom, looking for a run. He will get it. Here comes Mullahan to the back bumper of Steve Korsak off of turn 2.
Wild racing up front already. You can tell there's a little bit more on the line tonight. Move Dale Cup, Steve Karosik to the lead, but not for very long. Now it's Matthew Baker, one of the more consistent drivers all season. He and Andrew Navarro, they go to the lead immediately here in turn number 3 for the first time. Andrew Navarro, poke him out front. He's got 3 wins this season. You know he'd like to get a 4th tonight, get right into that round of 8. It's a hungry field of drivers behind him. However, look at these guys wobble back and forth off turn number 4.
Yeah, and as the playoffs go on, I think you'll see the aggression calm down, but that round of 16 is almost like we're still in the regular season in terms of free-for-all, everybody trying to make it to the round of 8, and Dawson, don't forget the round of 8 is only 1 race, so even if you're barely able to squeak in, that's going to make it harder for you to get through the round of 8 to the championship 4, so get as many points as you can here, and I believe the stage is going to pay these guys some extra playoff points, and I think that's exactly why we're seeing the 3x3 racing that we're getting right now. But how about Matthew Baker still committed up top with Dylan Jones? You see Brock Westmoreland, one of the independent drivers who's making a playoff run here tonight in the 4 truck. He's trying to move to the front, but on the bottom, it is still Andrew Navarro in charge as he'll get clear right up in front of Garrett Maines. He goes. Garrett, though, going to jump to the top off of 4.
Yeah, Garrett wasting no time. No surprise there. We saw these two share an incredible regular season title battle. How about Maines? Top to bottom in front of Karosik. Now leaves the middle to Navarro. Ward make that Baker, Navarro, Ward, and Lima. Zach Lima pulling through the field once again. Now to allow Dylan Jones to lead the top, but how much do they have in terms of temperatures up there? I think they're starting to fade. You can tell the writing was on the wall for guys like Baker and Maines. They got down as quick as possible. Now off turn number 2. Does Ward think about taking a shot out front? He's going to try. John Ward now in front of Dylan Jones halfway down the super stretch.
Yeah, he does. Can't blame him either. When you're in the middle of this mess, if you get an open lane to go to the front, I mean, you have got to take it. Put yourself out of danger by getting as close to the front as you can, even if that sounds counterintuitive. But right now, it is still all Matthew Baker as he was able to get clear from the top down to the middle. And so now Navarro doing a lot of pushing, but Garrett's still on the bottom. Now we're going to have Zachary Lima. He'll jump to the top, trying to see if he can lead Dale Cup to the front for the first time here tonight, as Steve Korsak, his teammate, is going to get trapped third on the bottom. 7 laps complete now at Talladega.
Zach Lima, very familiar, up to the third lane, uses it for as long as it takes him to get to the front, dives right back down in front of Andrew Navarro, and now leads the race next to Matthew Baker in the 5. He is trying to play spoiler as well, not a playoff driver in our field of 16. Oh my goodness, how did Lima save that one off turn 2? Navarro got in the back of him. Luckily, everybody keeps it going, and now heading down towards turn number 3. Baker really rolling on the bottom. The bottom line rolls once again into 3 and 4.
I'll tell you what, Dawson, it really has that feel tonight of, we can kind of tell right off the get-go, you kind of feel the energy that these guys are giving off, and it feels like one of those nights where it's going to be a historic finish. We are going to have that aggression all night. And boy, Matthew Baker coming off a second-place finish in the American 500 on Sunday night. He has got all the momentum in the world besides Aubrey Thompson, of course. But looking at chat here, it looks like Casey Phillips maybe wondering a little bit here the question that probably a couple people are, and that is, where is one of your round of 16 drivers, Daniel Eberhardt? Well, he is not here tonight, at least so it appears. And yeah, that's a tough break for the driver of the 90 because we know how fast he is. But right now, Jared Mogard, the last running round of 16 driver in the field at the moment, finds himself 8 seconds behind the pack. He must have had an issue early. He's going to need to hopefully hold out, at least stay on the lead lap until we can get to the stage break.
Yeah, not the start to the playoff run that Jared Mogard wanted for sure, as he drops off the draft. Now, the way they're racing up front, I don't know how worried he can really be. I don't know how long we can keep this going, the way they're dicing back and forth and up front is, so maybe it's not a bad place for him to be. It's off the draft right here. Back to 3 wide. Freeze, Jason Maines, Michael Triscaro, and the first appearance tonight of Cody Nagels in the 6. He wants to be a part of the party up on the top side in the 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, Cody Nagels, is he running a different scheme tonight, or is my trading paint's just not loading in? I am not used to seeing Cody in just such a kind of a plain paint scheme, if you will, but nonetheless, he is rolling up top in the 25 machine. Actually, that's Kevin Freeze, excuse me. And I was getting mixed up there for just a moment. Even Kevin, though, a little bit of a different scheme than usual. Yeah, there we go. Cody Nagels back 4th on that 3rd lane. Michael Triscaro just in front of him. Those two guys, a lot of experience over in the NSRA Sunday Select Series working together. But they're going to fade a little bit now as Cody will drop to the bottom to actually ditch Michael. Oh, Baker, wicked save on the inside. He got a big push from Navarro. We got one round out back. Cody Nagels, it looked like he is going to save it, but we got big damage on the 1 machine of Jason Maines.
I was trying to figure out what happened. I think somebody may have expired the engine. It may have been Jason Maines actually in the 1 machine. I'm going back to try to take a look myself. I think that's what happens here when they get loose off of turn number 4 is Jason Maines may have expired the engine underneath the 1 car.
That's going to be a tough break early. So we got one still slow right here. You see, yeah, Jason Maines is really slow. I mean, he's got heavy damage, but let's go back, take a look as Dawson just called it out. Watch for Jason Maines here. He was pushing really hard on the outside line. And in fact, I think the best way to go about this is going to be to ride on board with him here real quick. So as we go to the cockpit cam, take a listen here for the 1 of Jason Maines. Wow. Tell you what, Dawson, I don't know if you looked at the onboard, but that was a really aggressive jerk. I mean, I know the engine may have expired, but I wonder if he had got hit quicker. Did he get, hold on, let's back this up again. Does he get shot back? Oh, you know what happens there, Dawson? He gets a wicked net code off the rear bumper of Kevin Freeze. Boy, we rarely see that. But I'm telling you, that's exactly what that was, and that's why it did so much damage to the front of his Chevy Camaro. Boy, that's a wild one and a terrible, terrible break for Jason Maines.
It's a terrible break for he and Cody Nagels as well, just kind of as an innocent bystander in that incident. Luckily, Cody gets picked up by the second group, but man, what in the world? The way his car not really exploded, but kind of just jerked backwards, I thought for sure he'd just blown the engine. That's usually what we see, but yeah, now looking back, what a weird look. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, me neither, but nonetheless, Cody Nagels, you still got to give him credit. What a wicked save to keep us green, as a couple others, Tony Cox, and I believe maybe the 86 or the 89, couldn't tell exactly who it was, had also dove down to the pit. So Jason Maines, unfortunately, using that fast pair, and this will put him at least 1, if not 2 laps down. But he was able to get back on track, and yeah, it looks like only 1 down. So if he can survive till we get to the stage break, he'll get that lap back and be okay. But we did have some other guys affected by it here, including Damon Gilbert, who's actually the 68. That's one of the guys we saw jump down pit road, making his debut here tonight. Jared Mogard. It looks like him being back was able to allow him to miss it. And here we go. I mean, Tony Cox, right? I got to stop on it for a minute because he is going to have my favorite paint scheme in the field tonight. And he told me a couple days ago, he said, I got a new Ghost scheme coming out. Do you want me to surprise you with it or wait until Tuesday? And man, oh man, I'm glad we waited. Look at the 72 machine. It's got the green Ghost on the front, and that is a good looking scheme for Tony Cox. We'll see if he can put it in victory lane later tonight. Get his first win with it. That'd be pretty cool. Here we go, back up front. John Ward, Garrett Maines side by side off at 2 as we are now 12 of the 60 laps in. Dawson, this seems to have calmed them down a little bit as they go down the back straightaway.
Well, it split the field up is what it did, and now we've got a couple more cars incorporated. John Mullahan, Chris McCullough had lost the draft a little bit. They're back in. Cody Nagels, Logan York, Jeff Merck as well are working their way back forward. Kenny McCullough, Tucker McClendon are also starting to work back up into this lead draft, so we're going to have a bigger pack soon. I would anticipate that the intensity is going to go up when some of these cars get back. I mean, Cody, Logan, and Jeff Merck right here are going to have a massive run when they get to the field. I mean, they are flying. Their lap times are really fast, a lot faster than our leaders, so we'll see what they do. They're immediately back to the tail end of the draft. Here come the 6, the 02, and the 60. Don't be surprised they use the third lane when they get there.
Track temp's been heating up here just a little bit as you look at the speeds, 191 miles an hour as they got down into turn number 1. And again, these guys on a custom setup this season, so that's why we're seeing a lot of good handling race cars and high speeds, but that track temp creeping up a little bit. I think it'll, and ultimately maybe just help the outside roll a little bit more, not make a big difference as, John Ward washes up a little bit. Steve Korosek saying, hey man, I'm here, give me a little room. But Lima and Korosek trying everything they can, but they're going to need one more car, and they'll get it. Here goes Kevin Freeze. He'll jump to the top of John Ward. Now Garrett Maines, he'll go up to throw the block, pick up his teammate. And so John Ward for Hyper Motorsports trying to go to the lead on the bottom, but here comes Cody Nagels and Logan York. A little bit of a run. Do they take it? And also, how is Cody still up here? I would have thought he got a little more damage from that, but somehow the 6 still able to stay with the draft, and as he gets to the back bumper of Zachary Lima, he is going to stay tucked in line. That makes me think maybe he's working with those guys here tonight.
I would believe that would be the case. I do believe all 3 cars are on the same page here tonight. We'll have to wait and see. Don't be surprised if they peek out 3 wide. They've got the cars to do it. They've certainly got the pushing ability to do it as well. Lima, Korosek, Nagels, all in their own right. Very good at pushing, very good at getting lines to move. So watch those guys here as we get later in the stage. I think that's why Garrett Maines jumped up in front of Kevin Freeze here. They know what's about to happen. They can tell, they can see it coming, and they want to block it before it happens.
Yeah, you can tell a couple guys are trying to set it up. Baker's trying to get up. Oh man, he had to squeeze just in front of Andrew Navarro and just behind Logan York to make that work as Logan York will drop back low into turn number 1. Baker gonna have an option here. Does he go high? I'll tell you what, he would have a phenomenal pusher behind him in Road to Pro driver Andrew Navarro, but he's not because Cody Nagels jumps low, so he has to stay where he is. But Dawson, this will set him up for another big run. If you're Baker, do you take it into 3?
I still think it's a little bit too early. We'll see if he opts to take it. Looks to me like he's going to hang back, manage the gap, kind of just manage where he's at for right now and wait a couple more laps. The temperatures go up so quickly on these Xfinity Series cars, especially with the track temps like they are tonight. We're going to see these guys get heated up, so you got to wait. You got to manage your run and really wait and go as late as you possibly can. So it's still a little bit early for that right now. I think he's just trying to manage behind Steve Korosek for now.
It looked like a pit stop there for Damon Gilbert in the 68. A little surprised to see that, especially since we are now only about 5 laps away from the stage break. I think you got to try to stay out at this point if you're not up here in this pack to try to maybe catch a break, either catch the lucky dog, a wave around, something. But by him going to pit, that's probably going to put him now a lap down, as it looks like it does. But either way, up front, how about John Ward in the 92 on the bottom leading the way for Hyper Motorsports? And I believe that he is either by himself tonight or he's only got one, maybe a couple teammates. I see Justin Mills, but right now he is back in 20th with no help to offer. John Ward is all spread out from that incident we had earlier. So this lead pack, as it stands for the moment, is about 15 cars deep. Jeff Merck and Tucker McClendon, who we saw leading earlier, the last 2 cars, and they're just hanging back a little bit right now. But up front, here we go. 4 laps to go in the stage, still 2 by 2. Nobody risking to try that third lane yet, and when we look at the guys that you have up here, I think we will see a move from Baker and Navarro, but I think they'll save it till that last lap, Dawson. You kept preaching patience, and I think those are the 2 guys that are going to have the most of it here coming to the end of the stage.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest factor in me saying that is how far back Baker is from Freeze right now. He's trying to manage that run, trying to basically test the waters, see what kind of runs he gets up on the back of the 25 so that when it's time to go, he knows exactly when and exactly how much of a run he's going to have. So I think he's been kind of testing it the last couple laps just to see where are we at tonight with how these runs are forming. Well, our plan just got thrown out. Pit stops, Chris McCullough, Kenny McCullough, John Mullihan, Jeff Merck on pit road with 4 to go.
And I did not expect this pit stop. This seems kind of early to me too, unless these guys can't make it. But 50% fuel, as long as you were saving a little bit, you were, well, maybe they pit now because they didn't think they were going to be able to get in before 2 to go. I'm not sure if there's a rule on that, but yeah, that seems a little bit early to me, Dawson. I mean, I like the strategy call, flip the track position, because we know you're going to have to pit in that final stage, but I still thought that if you had the option, you would want to wait until maybe the last lap or second to last lap. But as you noted, McCall Motorsports coming in a lap early. They'll come out, lose the track position, and hopes to gain it here after the stage. But up front, doesn't look like much else has changed. Lima's going to move up in front of Logan York. Michael Triscaro, he'll pick up Steve Korosek. And here we go. We're actually going to see more pit stops here. Looks like a couple stay out, but it's going to be Garrett Mange, John Ward, and we got one more. I think it's Jared Mogard, who is also going to bring it down to the pits.
Dylan Jones pump fakes at the last second, stays on track, opts to stay with the bigger group with 2 laps to go in the stage, and honestly, probably a smart decision. They only end up with about 3 cars on pit road right there, and if a bigger group comes to pit right here, it's going to be the smart look for Dylan Jones to stay out, lead the race. Actually, I believe gets a point for a lap led. I'm not sure if these guys are getting that, but I do believe that is in place, so smart by Dylan Jones to stay out, keep the track position, and now the question will be, how many of these guys up front, do any of them have enough to go to lap 20?
Yeah, Casey Phillips in the chat is saying everyone who's fighting is going to run out of fuel, and that's looking like a pretty good call as of right now, and this will be the telltale sign. You either come in this time or you are trying to make it all the way to the stage. Here we go off of 4. Baker's going to come down. It looks like he'll pull one more. Can't tell exactly who it is yet. Believe, was that maybe Kevin Freeze? Yeah, sure enough it was. So Baker and Freeze bring it down to the pits. They both were up leading at one point. So all the rest of these guys, they better hope that they have enough fuel mileage to make it to the flag and a little bit more, because we are on the final lap of the stage. Here we go. Nagels in front. Korosek going to go high. Now Nagels puts another block up top, so he's going to try to bring his 3 teammates to the front down the back straightaway.
Well, he went to block Dylan Jones's run. The problem is Dylan Jones doesn't have a run. His help wasn't to him. Now it is down the back straightaway. Logan York. What can they do with the cars on the bottom? This is precious points here in the stage. If you get the stage win, it's Dale Cup up top. It's Jones and York on the bottom. Lima bails. All of a sudden in 3 and 4, he bails on his teammates, and off of 4, it's all Dylan Jones in the 7.
I did not expect that move, but that's why right there, because they had to pit. They realized they're not going to make it on fuel. Nagel stays out by himself on the bottom. It's Jones and York through the trial where they come. The bottom will have the momentum. It will be Dylan Jones at the line. He wins stage number 1. And boy, it was a photo finish for second. Could not tell if it was Triscaro, York, or Nagels. So we'll have to go back and take a look at it. But now, if you're Dylan Jones, and if we go to the cockpit cam, yeah, he immediately turned it off and put it in neutral here. He is going to have to coast all the way back to the pits, but he's going to have to hope they open it up this time. Man, they must have been really, really close on fuel for that stage, Dawson.
Well, it's the strategy we thought the playoff guys would play. No surprise to see guys like Korosek and Lima pit there at the end of the stage. They got nothing to race for tonight other than just the race payouts and the win. The playoff guys up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm surprised they could make it, first of all, based on when everybody else pit, but also, man, what a call. They all get stage points now, and that's precious points, especially for Dylan Jones, who now puts quite a gap on the cut line.
Well, I'll tell you what. I said that it was a photo finish for second, and I'm looking here. I don't even know if I can tell. I think it's maybe Cody Nagels, but, I mean, they are so incredibly close. I can't tell the difference, so we'll see what race control comes up with for that one. But a clear winner in Dylan Jones. He crosses the line about a car length in front. You got any more info on that?
I'll tell you what, Austin. To me, it looks like the Jones and York machines have run out of fuel. I don't think they're going to make it under power to make it to pit road. I think they're going to have to forfeit their positions here.
You're right, and again, as long as that's rule, which I believe it is, yeah, then that's a little bit of a mistake. But, I mean, Dawson, I'm really surprised because, again, these guys should be able to go about 40 laps, but then again, we saw how hard they were racing and how hard they were pushing, so you got to wonder if that was part of the issue. And as it stands, not one of the drivers that we saw come to the checkered flag without pitting there was able to make it all the way around until pits were open, I don't believe. So we'll have to see how it all gets sorted out. But right now, Andrew Navarro being scored as your leader. Matthew Baker in second. Zachary Lima third. Steve Korsak in fourth with Christopher McCall fifth. John Ward in sixth. Ken McCall Jr. seventh. John Mullahan in eighth. Garrett Maines ninth. And Cody Nagels rounding out your top 10. So doesn't look like McCall Motorsports was actually able to flip track position as much as maybe I initially thought they were going to be able to.
No, I don't think they were. I think they were just forced to kind of take what they got, and that's back half of the top 10, which is not what they were going for, pitting as early as they did on lap 17. So it did not play out the way they wanted it to. It really didn't play out. I don't think it played out the way anybody wanted it to here, depending on how these stage points end up getting ruled.
And I was going to pull someone up here to get us a quick interview, Dawson, but I don't know if these guys got scared of us or what the deal is. It is a ghost town over in the RMR Discord, so that knowledge, let these guys keep rolling as they should be rolling right to the want-to-go signal right here. And with that, we are going to take a quick break. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing under caution, and we will be back for the second restart of the night for Tuesday Night Thunder Race 1 of the round of 16. Stick with us at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway for race 1 of the round of 16 here for Tuesday Night Thunder playoffs. And out front now, Zachary Lima, as they had to get some scoring stuff settled out. And we actually got word, Dawson, that your stage winner was indeed confirmed as Dylan Jones. And that's because iRacing freezes scoring as soon as that caution comes out and they cross the line right there. So, yeah, it was Dylan Jones who got the win. And who was it exactly that got second and third again, Dawson?
Would have been Logan York second, Michael Triscaro third, Cody Nagels fourth by my scoring at least.
And I think that's a really big move right there from Logan York to get himself up into a podium spot because remember, he's one of the guys that's a little bit on the lower side for the playoff bubble right now to make it to the round of 8. So any extra stage points that you can get is certainly going to help that O2 machine. I like the call, but now finds himself further towards the back of the pack. And he's going to have a little work to do here to get back towards the front. Actually, is right now, looks like he is currently outside of the top 10. Yeah, he's back in 16, so a lot of work to do. But Zachary Lima and Matthew Baker are going to line up in row number 1. It'll be Steve Corset, Garrett Maines, row 2. John Mullahan, John Ward, ex-teammates in row number 3. And we are getting ready to go back green flag racing. And you see it's going to be, looks like about, 35 laps to go here. So that's going to be a solid one stop. And what I'm interested to see here, Dawson, is do you run this out or do you go right to when that fuel window opens with, I would say, probably about 17, 16 laps to go to be safe? I mean, how do you go about this?
Personally, I'm a fan of pitting when the window opens myself. You're able to really control your own destiny that way. You're not really relying on anybody else's decision. You're the first to move, the first to make a decision, and everybody else reacts to you. So that's my personal preference anyway.
All right, so here we go. The pace car pulls off. Field in the hands of Zachary Lima and Matthew Baker. Back into the restart zone. Stage number 2 and the final stage here at Talladega is underway. Green flag back in the air. It's a good start for everybody up front. Further back, that long single file line already with some separation. It looked like right around the area of where Tony Cox was able to restart at. And so everybody's going to quickly try to get reorganized, but 2 by 2, 3 rows deep through 1 and 2.
Everybody trying to get their runs formulated. Outside will roll big here onto the super stretch for the first time. Matthew Baker, Garrett Maines, John Ward, move Chris McCullough that top line as well. Tucker McClendon is up there, 5 cars deep here on the middle lane. More cars coming to him. Jared Mogart is coming through the field, but I don't believe he's on the lead lap. I'm not sure, but it doesn't show him on my scoring. Baker down across the Zachary Lima machine as they await some help. The Dale Cup boys on the bottom trying their best to get a third car. Jeff Merck's coming to him, but off of 4. Outside line's got all the energy.
Guess who on the outside? Garrett Maines, but look even further back. Tucker McClendon now back up in that 5th position on the outside, just in front of him, though. How about it? Christopher McCall trying to get up here. It looks like he's got a little bit of a different paint scheme on here tonight as well. But as he tries to continue to crawl his way to the front, you can see Andrew Navarro maybe starting to get a little impatient behind the 24 machine. Oh, Garrett Maines! He got some contact to the right side door of Matthew Baker up front. Man, that was a close call, but both drivers able to hold on. Look how much side drafting they are doing as they go down the Talladega backstretch.
Not surprised at all. The aggression level is up. They know now only one pit stop separates them from the end of this race. We've got guys coming forward further back as well. Guys like Tucker McClendon you talked about. Guys like Kenny McCullough in the 0-3. Guys like Kevin Freese, David Sheets, all trying to come through the field here in the middle portion of the race. But up front, it's all Baker versus Lima on the front row. Maines, Ward, Mullahan, McCullough just kind of waiting in the wings right now, seeing where the runs go. And with 34 laps to go, you can kind of settle in a little bit, but these guys, we know them, they're not going to.
Yeah, you certainly can, but I mean, on the flip side of that, Dawson, we know that with this stage, you don't have to fuel save at all because it's going to be a solid one-stop strategy. So I would almost think on the flip side, the guys who are being aggressive in the first stage would be even more aggressive here in stage number 2. But as you noted right now, it does look like some of these guys are trying to settle in as they remain 2 by 2. And Baker still looking pretty comfortable up on his saddle in the front right now. But as he gets back down low, that'll put Zachary Lima back on his bumper. Steve Korsek third on the inside. Jeff Merck starting to work his way up here, trying to break into the top 5. Garrett Maines still leading the top, and even further back, looks like we're going to have a couple guys now getting a little antsy, ready to try some 3 wide as Kevin Freese jumped out, couldn't get any takers.
Yeah, he tried it, but really those middle 2 lanes rolling so well up front here that they're not going to be able to do very much, I don't think, further back in terms of getting a third line to roll right now. They got to wait a little bit longer, let these guys really get hot and really have to start temperature managing, and then you start to try the third line, start to get a run going and move to the front. As I say that, Mullahan, Chris McCullough, couple other cars, David Sheets, Kenny McCullough, come to play, trouble. Around goes Merck.
That's not going to end too well. Man, oh man, Garrett Maines took him with a block all the way to the wall, and that wasn't what actually started the wreck, but I think that's what probably ended up ultimately leading to it here. And man, we got a junkyard down here by the entrance of turn 3, and man, tough break for Tony Cox. Good looking scheme. Hate to see it torn up like that, but you can see the rear bumper ripped off. He's got damage on the front sides. Looks like the rear deck lid as well is bouncing around, and he's definitely going to need that, so he'll have to go in and get that repaired. Jared Mogard looked like he had a ton of damage as well, and I don't believe he had gotten his lap back yet, so this is going to hurt him even more as he towed immediately. But let's go back and take a look. And Dawson, I was just getting ready to say before they wrecked, boy, did that move look planned or what? McCall Motorsports, they knew who they had lined up, and they knew that they were ready to go here as you're going to see it's John Mullihan. And actually, hold on. Let's get this set up first before we break it down any further. And so here we go. Watch the outside line. Third car in line, that's John Mullihan. He's going to have 3 teammates lined up behind him here. Christopher McCall, Ken McCall Jr., David Sheets. Now, Ken and David, look at him. They're getting a run. They're setting it up on the bottom. So that's John Mullihan knows that's coming, so he'll jump up. Chris follows. His 2 teammates see the exact same thing, say, okay, we're going to go up here now. Garrett Maines, the one leading the middle. He's going to realize this right off the bat. He knows that they're going to have a killer run coming to the top. As you see, Steve Korsak jump to the middle, so he'll jump up to block it. And, actually the block itself was there, but then you see John Mullihan. He says, no, I'm going to go a lane higher. And that's where it starts to get a little tighter there. I think Garrett was still clear, but Mullihan looking like maybe feels like Garrett was running him out of room. And then, of course, that's going to spark this little debacle that happens behind him. And watch here from the view, or actually before we go to the view here, go back to the chopper and take a look here. So once Mullihan gets into the wall, Christopher McCall sees that, has to check up. Ken's trying to check up, but then just makes slight contact with Chris as he's turning down. That turns him and himself down. Ken McCall Jr. gets down into Jared Mogard. Jeff Merck unable to escape yet again. He spins down. Watch this hit from Mogard. Boom, hard into the outside wall. As you see Michael Triscaro spinning in the background. There's Tony Cox into Jeff Merck with nowhere to go. And this one ain't over just yet here. Tony Cox is going to get piled into the rear bumper of again. It looks like the 54 of George Bark. Another driver making his first appearance here of the night. And, Dawson, we can sit up here all day and say, this and that, but at the end of the day, it didn't look like anything too egregious. I mean, Garrett looked like the initial block was clear. Then he drove it up to the wall, but at the same time, it looked like he may have still been barely clear, but at the same time, you go to Mullihan's cockpit view, you can see just how hard it is to judge that distance. So Mullihan here thinking he may have it, and then just, unfortunately, hard racing and doesn't work out too well for one of the parties involved.
It's one of those where, as a driver, and I've been in this situation before, I can't help but ask, is that a block you throw with 31 laps to go? I understand Garrett Maines sees the run coming. He knows that they're going to have a massive run. There's only 2 cars left in the middle at that point behind Garrett Maines. So it's a move I understand, but also a move at the same time. You could just stay in the middle and hopefully you stall their run. Maybe you side draft them as they get alongside you or something. And if you're John Mullihan, I mean, there's not much you can do except try to go higher. I mean, they had a massive run on the outside. They were flying and they were all linked up. And so when you go to go a lane higher, unfortunately misjudges it a little bit and gets into the outside wall. But if you're Mullihan and one of his teammates there, you're probably asking, is that really a move that you want to make with 31 to go?
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. And McCall Motorsports right now saying, well, we're definitely not going to be playing Garrett Maines any favors here later in the race after that one. But looking at it here, looks like Tony Cox and Jared Mogard, as we noted, were the 2 that got the worst of it. Jeff Merck also involved. But watch this hit from Mogard here as he'll take a slide towards the inside wall, and 00, almost full throttle, just rips the front end and the suspension off of the 20 machine. And man, oh man, Cody Nagels didn't even realize he was involved initially there. So we saw Michael Triscaro out back. I think Brock Westmoreland was able to check up and miss this. There you see Logan York right in the thick of it. He sneaks around. And we'll take one more look at this one here from the wall cam. But I agree, Dawson, as talented as we know Garrett is, you got to wonder, was it really needed that early? But at the same time, he's one of the playoff drivers, so he knows that he needs to be up in the front and have a chance to win this thing at the end. And I mean, we have seen it before. Sometimes you lose one spot becomes 2, so on and so forth. But I mean, I think the best way to put it is both guys are going to disagree on that one. And McCall Motorsports not too happy with the one. You can't blame them, but here we go. Back to the front. It is Garrett Maines still leading. John Ward on the outside. Looks like it's going to be Zachary Lima back in 3rd. Steve Korsak down there as well. But it looks like it's John Mullihan to the outside in 4th. As we are now officially 1 lap over halfway. And so these guys not good to go on field just yet. Dawson will have to pit again, but I would almost think this kind of widens that strategy window out a little more, because about 12 laps from now, they're going to be in the window to pit, but they can still go about another 8 laps even after that. So this could have maybe made the green flag stops even more interesting.
Yeah, I think it does. I think like you said, widens the gap out a lot for when you can pit. I think maybe you'll see a split strategy, although I think once a group decides one or the other, I think everybody's going to kind of follow them. If we see a bunch of cars pit on lap 43, 44, I think you'll see cars follow them in. I think everybody will follow the same strategy. It's what usually happens. We'll just have to see if maybe there's a group that just decides to go full opposite and maybe tries to run long if a group pits short and just hope it works out for him. That's what makes these late race strategy calls so interesting.
Yeah, it looked like Jared Mogard was going to get a lap back right there as we got a delayed green. Tony Cox used his fast spare, so he is now back up to the field, as did Jared Mogard. And I would think Cody Nagels probably did as well. It's certainly looking like it right now for the 6 machine. As taking another look here, actually back to the front, I take that back. And so this will shorten our green flag run down by lap, and again, continue to widen that strategy out a little more. But, man, picking a favorite tonight, I would not want to be this guy because it's hard to choose. We have seen so many guys with speed here tonight. Garrett, though, showing a little bit more aggression than I feel like he normally does. But I think for my favorite, I have got to go back to row 4. Dawson, you picked him last time we were together in the booth. John Mullahan, but, man, he has been on a tear lately. Maybe not the best luck in the American 500, putting that big event aside. These weekly money races, he has seemed to figure them out about the last couple weeks.
Well, absolutely he has. He's been on a huge tear. For me, I think I got to stick with the man that's gotten it done all season, and that's Andrew Navarro. He's put himself in a great spot tonight, running row number 3 right now in the 6th position. He's in a good spot for these pit stops, and this is another one of those races. It feels like a couple of his wins have been races that he kind of runs 3rd, 4th row all night, just manages the car, keeps himself in the race, keeps himself in position, and when it comes down to it, he's able to make the right move and go to victory lane. This feels like another one of those nights for Andrew Navarro to really set the tone here to open the playoffs.
Well, you got to be in it to win it. So right now, if you still have that fast spare in your pocket, you are looking pretty good with what is going to be 28 laps to go when we cross the line. And these kind of races, it doesn't necessarily feel like crunch time until we get, honestly, probably within about 15, 20 laps to go. But when you have a race where you still have a green flag pit stop remaining, it to me never feels like go time until after you get through that final green flag stop. But man, something about money racing. These guys love going for it right from the drop of the green. And so anybody that thinks these guys are only in here for money, I can tell you differently, because if that was the case, they would have no reason to race as aggressive as they do for all of the 60 laps. But speaking of money, we bring up what the payouts are looking like here tonight real quick. As always, based off of 25 drivers, and it looks like we got just that here tonight. So first place, I'll be going home with $125. Second will go home with $100. Third and fourth also going home with $100. The stage break winner will get $25, and then $125 of the pot tonight going towards that championship fund, which we will talk about more here in just a little bit. Here we go. Pace car off. They're going to head back into the Geico restart zone.
Waiting for the green flag. Garrett Maines on the bottom has led most of this race. John Ward up top looking to take advantage. Green flag back in the air. And once again, we flash past the flag stand. Put lap 33 of 60 on the board. 28 laps remaining here from Talladega. And into turn number 1, the help for Garrett Maines has somewhat dissolved here behind the 1. Top line will roll. John Ward to the lead here in turns 1 and 2. He's got Mullahan, Navarro, and Kevin Freeze in tow onto the super stretch.
And as they work their way on to the back stretch, John Ward with a big push. Look at the momentum that he gets from John Mullahan. He will get well clear of Garrett Maines, maybe trying to pull Mullahan with him. It doesn't look like he will be able to do it, so John Ward going to jump down. Mullahan almost gets split out of line as Navarro got to his bumper at an awkward time. He will let him drop back down. They remain 2 by 2. Not for long, though. Garrett Maines will take that spot away from John Mullahan as he goes to the top, looking for the lead over John Ward. He gets it. Now Mullahan's going to get clear, and he'll jump to the bottom looking for the lead as they come through the tri-oval.
Beat Garrett Maines to the punch. That's a statement not a lot of people can say they can do, but John Mullahan does it right there in the 2. Instinctive to get right down to the bottom in front of John Ward, who he knows is going to push him hard right here. The problem is they're waiting on another car. It allows Garrett Maines to go right back to the lead. And look, guess who? Andrew Navarro to second here on the back straightaway for the first time. He is inside the top 3 and looking to get even more here down the back straightaway. Looking further back, the Dale Cup teammates are together. 3 in a row back there. Lima, Karosik, Nagels. Looks like Michael Triscaro, Jeff Merck trying to get back to the front. Same with Matthew Baker and Chris McCullough as well.
And Garrett Maines on the outside looking at that third lane. It's trying to form, but just doesn't really have much energy right now. It's back there Michael Triscaro, Jeff Merck with the two guys trying to make it happen. They'll jump back down. I'm starting to see Justin Mills appear back into the picture. And what looks to be the 22 machine here tonight at the back of this pack. That's another one of the Hyper Motorsports drivers trying to make his way to the front. Look to see if he can't find his teammate John Ward, who's been running up front all night. But man, Mullahan going to get trapped on the bottom here as we are ready to go 3 wide. Dale Cup up top, Navarro and Freeze in the middle, Maines and Mullahan on the bottom. And that top is really rolling right now. Watch for Lima to get clear. Not able to do it though. What a push by Kevin Freeze down the backstretch.
Oh, it was a combination of that and the fact that Lima tried to get off the side draft on the back straightaway and almost got turned by his teammate Steve Karosik. Kind of a miscue there onto the super stretch, and now they are going to drop way out of the top 5 or 6 cars here as they are the only 2 remaining in the middle lane. That's a tough break for those 2, as well as Matthew Baker, who went up to the top. They lose even more than they had before they tried to go 3 wide, but here comes Dale Cup one more time up the outside.
Dale Cup doing everything they can. We know they like to be aggressive every lap. Cody Nagels now jumping to the top. Christopher McCall, if he gets clear, wouldn't be surprised if he goes up as well. And now Mullahan, who is maybe not historically known for controlling lanes the way he just did right there, is starting to flex a little muscle. He says, hey, if you guys can do it, why can't I? And he jumps right up in front of Garrett Maines. Garrett showing him some respect as he will stay glued to the back bumper of that 2 car all the way down the back straightaway. Not going to be able to get him re-cleared. So now that'll allow John Ward to cool his temps off just a little bit. Meanwhile, you got Kevin Freeze, Christopher McCall try to get going, and watch for Garrett Maines to maybe poke out to that 3rd lane if Kevin Freeze. Oh, he turns Mullahan. Mullahan is around. Does he save it? I'm not sure if he did. Was headed hard towards the inside wall, and he does not. That is heavy damage to the 2 car. Oh no, that's such an unfortunate sequence of events, and it doesn't draw the caution either. Wow. Well, let's go back and take a look at it. Talking about how great of a job he was doing. Here we go. Coming off of 4, and man, it just looks like Garrett gets him a little offset. They were onto the straightaway, so the car had already unloaded. You didn't have to worry about that part of it. But just, it doesn't take much, Dawson, in these cars. We know that. And right there, talked about, I think Garrett just got him a little offset and turned him down the track. The rest was history, and man, John Mullahan, he is probably not too happy right now.
I was just going to say, I can't imagine the driver of the 2 is extremely happy with Garrett Maines. 4 wide here at the front. Dale Cup says, I'm going to go a lane higher. They're going to rim ride for the first time tonight. 3 cars deep. Baker trying to get up in front of Chris McCauley. Sees it coming, but cannot do so. And now they go back to 3 wide, but crazy sequence right there. But now, going back to Mullahan, I can't imagine he's very happy with the driver of the 1 after... You know, even in the last incident, those 2 got together as well. Can't imagine that's a very happy driver underneath the 2 right now.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that for a second, but yeah, that's kind of twice that Garrett's maybe put Mullahan in a bad spot here tonight. So yeah, that's Garrett's definitely going to owe him one probably after that. But man, Mullahan, he gets turned around. John Ward with a wicked save on this, but here you go. That's just a big hit to the inside wall. That was a fast spur, and I think Mullahan wasn't even able to make it around as he tried to do so. It's going to hurt him even more, and man, oh man, Mullahan looking really good so far here tonight, looking good to go far in the playoffs, but here we go. Hold that thought, back up front, 4 wide again. Oh, it's getting really tight. Christopher McCall, he will be able to find a spot back in line, but man, I think Dale Cup wants to go 4 wide with some of the moves we're seeing them make right now.
Yeah, Dale Cup, no quarter, no prisoners. They've hung Garrett Maines out, Matthew Baker out, and now Chris McCullough. Add him to the list. They are not wanting any part of anybody getting in that 3rd line besides them. Willing to go up the end, rim ride, and it's paying dividends. Here they come to the front of the field. Karosik, Lima, Nagels up against the outside wall. Now they pinch down to side draft, and this is getting really close together here off turn number 4. These guys are running out of real estate. The closer that side draft gets, the closer we get to the inevitable contact, or even worse, the right rear net code.
Yeah, you know it's going to happen sooner or later, but we know, Dawson, as these races go on, the lanes are going to get tighter. It's just what you have to do if you want to make progress and go forward. But right now, the outside struggling for grip here just a little bit. You see the shade over through 1 and 2, maybe a little bit of a cooler track temp. You got to wonder if that's playing a role, but as they go down the straightaway. Oh, man, Christopher McCall gets up into Steve Korsak. We got a couple fishtailing around out of line. They all save it again. Logan York staying committed up top, but they're going to need more help. Now looks like Tucker McClendon, he's thinking about jumping to the top to maybe make a move towards the front. Meanwhile, you got Kevin Freeze now stuck behind Matthew Baker as he made the move up. Andrew Navarro trying to lead the bottom. And I'll tell you what, Dawson, we're coming to 20 laps to go. That means that fuel window is going to open here in just about a couple laps. Oh, now Baker, he almost gets turned off the front bumper. Kevin, did you see how quick his hands were working there to save that car?
Well, you have to. It's the only option you have here at the front of the field. And Baker, we know he's no stranger to saving these kinds of moments. He does right there as well. Keeps himself up at the front of the field. But what it allows is the middle line to really move here in the middle of 1 and 2. Kevin Freeze wants to lead. Garrett Maines is going to get back up here as well. Chris McCullough. And then the Dale Cup teammates further back, kind of just lurking for now. Their moves did not quite work, but now they know. They've been able to test that move. They know what's coming for later. But the first thing coming before that is pit stops. And like you said, we're getting awfully close to that window opening.
We have driver cams tonight, and I may or may not have forgot to show them. I'm not going to lie, but I wish we would have showed it because Baker, we saw the in-car view. What a save, and here you go. Look how much more working the wheel he has to do being out in front. Not much longer, though, as he will lose it. Still going to have to go to work here now on the back bumper of Kevin Freeze to try to hold those two out in front. But you know Matthew Baker has to be one of the favorites for the championship 4. And right now he's looking pretty strong as he is pushing Kevin Freeze. That is our first driver with the driver cam here tonight. Going back a little bit further in the field, Jeff Merck, another one of the guys that we have carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. Still looking to break the bad luck streak. We'll see if tonight is the night for Jeff Merck. You go even further back here, Michael Triscaro, another one of the guys that have made the playoffs. This might be, I believe this is his second season now making at least, well, we didn't have the playoffs before, so we'll call it the first season making the playoffs, but no stranger to Tuesday Night Thunder as he's trying for another good run here tonight. And then last but certainly not least, the best scheme in the field here tonight, that is Mr. Tony Cox in the 72. Got himself, I believe, back on the lead lap. Yeah, sure enough, currently sitting in 20th, but again, one wreck. He gets himself right back in this thing if he misses it, and maybe he's got a chance to go win himself some money here tonight.
Dale Cup 3 wide one more time, but it's only 2 cars this time. Their teammate, or at least Alliance, tonight, Cody Nagels in the 6, has been hogged back by his own 3 wide situation where he is stuck in the middle of the racetrack. So they are alone up against the outside wall for the most part, although that middle line has started to split a little bit. An opportunity here for the Dale Cup boys into 3.
Yeah, it certainly is, but man, it's getting really, really tight, especially in the middle right now because Garrett is the only man with Kevin right now, so they're going to have to do everything they can to not let the bottom roll, but Baker will jump to the middle. Now that will help the middle roll. Navarro on the bottom. Steve Korsak still geared up for that run up top. They haven't been able to get the momentum rolling yet, but I think when they do, it is going to be almost unblockable. Still nothing going just yet. And as they cross the line, now 17 laps to go inside that fuel window. When are we going to see the pit stops?
I'd imagine they'd start this time unless these guys have decided the better play is to just run the tank out and go all the way to the end of the fuel run, which would be about another 5 or 6 laps, I think, by my calculation. I would pit now. I don't know if anybody's going to do it, but that's what I would do. And we are now inside that window. We'll see if we have any takers here off of 4. Single file line starting to form down along the yellow line.
And still 3 by 3 into 3. Garrett Maines trying to work his way back up, but still trapped in the middle right now with nowhere to go. Steve Korsak up top with Zachary Lima. And man, this is looking like almost a photo image of what we saw last lap. Everybody still holding their positions. Baker in the middle, Navarro on the bottom. And as it'll now be 16 laps to go, you continue to wonder, can this top make it work tonight? But right now, Dawson, notice the 54. He's hanging back just a little bit from the back bumper of Zachary Lima. That is hindering them from making that progress that they want to make. But as he finally tightens it up through 1 and 2, all of a sudden the third lane draws even.
Yeah, it's a big part of moving a line forward is how close is that third car. Now he's tucked right up underneath the 20 of Zachary Lima. And all of a sudden, now one of the Dale Cup guys gets clear. The 27 of Steve Korsak all the way to the bottom. Lima not able to get clear in the middle, though. He'll have to hope for some help here from that 54 of George Bark up top, as well as the 68 Damon Gilbert and Tucker McClendon. How about the bright yellow Supra further back, making his way back towards the front as well?
Still 3 by 3 in the travel, but Steve Korsak you talked about, was able to get clear as he jumped all the way to the bottom. That helps his teammate, Zachary Lima, as he will finally be able to cool. He had been pushing for quite a while up top. Baker seems pretty comfortable on the middle. He hasn't looked like he's really had any thoughts about jumping to the bottom or the top to block any sort of run. And so as Corsac stays on the bottom, I think now these guys have to slowly start getting single file, which towards the back, they're doing just that. But up front, you would never know that we still have a pit stop left because nobody getting lined up at the moment is up top. How about what we are seeing right now from the 68 machine of Damon Gilbert? Remember, he got a lap down early, lost the pack first race, but here he is back inside the top 10 fighting to see if maybe he can go win some money in his debut race. How cool would that be?
What a moment it would be. You would play some spoiler here to one of the playoff guys from getting that high finishing position and advancing their way closer to the round of 8. So certainly guys like Bart, guys like Gilbert, guys like Kevin Freese even, just not playoff guys that are out here just looking to win and spoil the party a little bit. They're not out here racing for points. They don't have as much to lose as the guys around them, and it's part of the reason I think you see those guys racing the way they are here with 14 to go.
And I don't know if you saw that, but man, Baker almost followed the man he was pushing, Andrew Navarro. Oh, big one out back. Ken McCall Jr. Now we got a couple more. Sheets is around. Is he going to save it? We got 3 cars with the hood blown off, and race control has seen enough. They are going to throw the yellow. Justin Mills, the other one involved, but the 2 that got the worst was Ken McCall Jr. and David Sheets from McCall Motorsports. Sheets still in trouble here as he's on the grass trying not to spin that thing out. And oh my goodness, gets finally back on track and it looks like in control. We have got debris scattered all the way from the back straightaway to the pits. And man, let's go see what brings out only your 3rd caution of the night and only 2nd one due to incident here. And so this all starts actually out back here with Ken McCall Jr. So he's going to be the first person to get in trouble right here. So there he is on the inside. We'll go to the chopper view. The 03, about middle of your screen, you see Jason Maines in the middle. And watch that top line. You see, Lima looks like he comes down. Yeah, so Lima's going to drop in line in front of Jason. And the 54, I think, again, that tunnel vision, Dawson, I think he was just trying to follow the back bumper of Zachary Lima. Didn't realize that there was a car down low, and he just followed straight in, down into the door of Jason Maines. That sends Jason into Ken McCall Jr., who goes hard into the inside wall. And then Justin Mills doesn't look like was able to get checked up here. Take another angle of that part of it here. And yeah, Mills just runs into the back of Jason, and Cody with the wicked save, but then David Sheets gets pretty significant contact from that as well. And then what happens to Sheets here that sends him back through the grass? Looks like he's okay. Ooh, spins going from that transition from the flat to the banking portion of the apron. Let's go back and take a look. Initially, that was only going to be a wreck for Ken McCall Jr., but that secondary wreck is what triggered the caution, and that's probably a good thing here because this was going to put Ken McCall Jr. in a bad position if this did not draw the caution. But watch the view here as he gets turned. I mean, just absolutely nothing he can do. It's a blindside thing, puts on the brakes, but that's another big shot. We've seen a couple big hits here tonight, Dawson, and that's certainly going to be a fast pair, which I believe the 03 has, but I'm sure he didn't want to have to use it off of something quite like that.
No, I can't imagine he wanted to use it right there, but unfortunately the circumstances have come to him here inside of 15 laps to go, and it's just one of those tough deals. You know, Kenny gets turned out of line. It's something where maybe it's a miscue, maybe it's a bad spotter call perhaps, and you're just, you're not really looking in a case like that that quickly to see if the guys in the middle are on the bottom. You just hear, all right, you're too wide, and you start to come down, and they make contact, and obviously a tough break for Kenny McCullough and David Sheets as well, and lucky for them, a caution flag comes out and almost saves them just a little bit and allows them to stay in the race.
Yeah, and I mean, giving some credit here to Justin Mills. He checks up, but it's one of those things where you can't completely get out of it in this case, and I think he was thinking that Jason would either save it and get back going or maybe end up drifting to one of the other lines, but as Jason saves it, which he does a phenomenal job of doing, he ends up right in the path of Justin Mills, who, like I said, was kind of hoping to maybe shoot the gap, and that gap just ended up not being there. And then when they wreck here, watch this for Justin Mills. He's actually going to get a hood that ends up going through his cockpit. You've seen that a couple of times now with the new damage model. Let's take one more look at this here from the outside wall cam. As, yeah, again, we know that David Sheets and Ken McCall Jr. certainly getting the worst of that one. 2 McCall Motorsports teammates taken out in 1 wreck. And here you go. So as they come down the back straightaway, that third lane starts to die. That's what triggers Lima to want to jump back down to the middle, but just hard racing and a little bit of a mistake by a couple of these guys causes another only few car wreck. Dawson, all in all, 12 laps to go, only 3 cautions so far. These guys have been doing good here tonight. Another hard racing incident, but man, this is setting us up for an exciting finish.
It really is. I don't think that's the last caution of the evening. The way these guys have been racing, the stakes that this race brings with it, certainly think we're not quite done wrecking yet. We'll see when we go back under the green flag with an even 10 laps to go in this race. The intensity only going to continue to ramp up with the stakes that are on the line for the playoff drivers here at the front. Looking at it, playoff drivers 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. And then it looks like he had to go back to 11th. Cody Nagels, Michael Triscaro kind of logged back further in the field. So some playoff guys have to come forward. And there's plenty of players here at the front that are going to be all over the place trying to make sure that they can stay there.
Lights are off on the pace car. That means 1 to go. 25 viewers, thank you all so much for coming out. Hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. If you like what you see, make sure to leave us something, comment, like, feel free to follow. Anything makes us know that you are enjoying the product. So Garrett Maines lines up on that inside. Navarro on the outside. There's Baker in row number 2. Steve Korosek to his outside. And right now, it's go time, right? No more pit stops. This is just, from here, you are making whatever track position you can. And I think that's exactly why Dawson said we're probably going to see some more cautions. Everybody good to go for the overtimes that we would have as well, assuming that we would need them. And if you are anybody on the outside, you better be thinking, I want to be the first one to that third lane. And if you're anybody but Baker on the inside, trapped, I'd say third on back, you might be wanting to start thinking about if there's a way for you to get to that outside line. But Steve Korosek here on the back bumper of Andrew Navarro, that is going to be a very dangerous duo. Steve, we know one of the most aggressive, and in that case, one of the best pushers when it comes to super speedway racing. So Andrew Navarro, you know he's going to be able to hold it, but what can Matthew Baker do on the bottom to try to hold off the 27? And again, one more race after tonight, but if one of these round of 16 drivers, which are highlighted in yellow and have a P next to their name on the scoring tower, win this race, then we will see them in the round of 8 guaranteed, even if they get wrecked and get last next week.
Well, and fitting who's on the front row, right? Maines and Navarro. We saw them share a battle last week in the whole season. No, it's just no surprise they found themselves on the front row, but behind them, a field of 14 playoff drivers that all want that victory here as we get ready to go back green.
Going to be a 10-lap sprint to the finish at Talladega, Superspeedway style. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air. 10 laps to go at Talladega. Through the gears, it's a good start for Andrew Navarro on the outside, but Garrett Maines, he is going to get a big side draft off down into turn number 1. Both lanes going to hold even. Who is going to gain the advantage off of 2?
Oh boy, look at the side draft here in 1 and 2. They are down on the doors. You can almost scrape the paint between the cars onto the Alabama Gang super stretch. And good grief, Andrew Navarro led that top line down there to side draft the bottom. And look at the dividends it pays. Navarro goes to first. Korosek goes to second. Navarro will get clear in front of Garrett Maines immediately here in turn 3 and 4. He will go down because I think he knew the writing was on the wall. Steve Korosek was getting ready to take it himself. Now Korosek will lead the top line. He wants to lead off 4.
Yeah, I think Steve had that split-second decision of am I clear or not, and I think it was a good choice to stay up, first of all, because it was too close to call, and also because now he's getting a good push from Kevin, and ultimately this could put him in the lead instead of a second on the inside, and as he remains up top, the outside still looking well formed up, so is the bottom, honestly, but everybody out back still struggling to catch these guys, so we haven't had any third lane develop, at least not yet, but look further back, John Ward, Jeff Merck, they're starting to get a run as Michael Triscaro jumps up, and if they get there, watch for those 3 cars to pull out with 9 laps to go.
Would not be surprised in the slightest. Ward does. Merck does as well. They got one more coming with them. I believe that's John Mullahan. They're trying to come forward. Now they wait for more dance partners. Now Mullahan bails out. And up front, it is all Navarro and Korosek. Navarro back to the top in front of Kevin Freese. He wants to lead one more time. Ward and Merck, they're going to fade as they have no one to help them trouble. Around goes Korosek, and he's going to hammer the inside wall.
Big hit for Steve, man. Another time where he gets turned around from the lead. Front bumper's gone, suspension destroyed. That'll be a fast repair for the 27 as he is just going to stop and immediately tow. Let's go back and take a look. This one not going to have too much to break down for Dawson. We saw a similar incident earlier, I believe at least. Let's actually watch this, I guess, first just to make sure. But leads coming off of 4. There you see Navarro. Here comes Maines with a big push, and ooh, I'll tell you what I think happened there, actually. So you see it is an offset push by Garrett, but I don't really think Garrett actually was able to line him up there, because it looked like Garrett was getting a push from Baker. And Dawson, tell me what you think here, but it looks like the push from Baker actually gets Garrett a little bit out of shape, all while pushing him up to the bumper of Steve Korosek. And then as a result, Garrett never really has a chance to line up. He's offset when he gets there, and that's what turns Steve down into the inside wall, nowhere to run. That's a big hit for the 27.
That's one where maybe you communicate a little bit if you're Garrett Maines, and maybe you tell Baker as you're getting up to the 27, hey, we got to lift, because you know that's going to happen when you hit the 27, going that fast. And I think you just got to communicate that and be like, we got to back out just a little bit, just for a split second. Even a blip probably saves them from all crashing right there. Unfortunately, that communication does not get through. Garrett tries to make the push anyway, and when he does, I mean, that 27 is not going to take that push very well, going that much slower than the car behind him.
Yeah, I will say, I feel like maybe tonight the pushing's been a little bit tougher for one reason or another on the straights than what we're used to seeing, but yeah, still just a mistake there. And Steve Korosek, man, starting to almost kind of get the Jeff Merck luck, and I hate to say that for all the Jeff Merck fans, but it's the case of both drivers have that ability to get to and stay at the front consistently, and yet they always find a way to get involved in one of these wrecks, even if in this case you feel like if you're Steve, you're in the best position you can be. And here we go. Take a couple more views of this one. As watch when Steve gets turned here. I mean, it actually gets turned to the outside initially, maybe net code a little bit off of the 44, which sends him back to the inside, or the contact ultimately, and then there's that hard hit into the outside wall as everybody else working to miss this one. Man, oh man. Take a couple more views of this. First one, actually, let's go back here to TV3. And we rode on board with Garrett and with Steve. But yeah. Pretty simple for that one. And he's lucky boy that he did not come back on the track where there was traffic. That could have been a lot worse. And see, the other interesting thing that I caught in this wreck, Dawson, if you didn't see it here, we see some funny things sometimes with damage models. Watch his hood. You see it sliding across the tri-oval. Goes through the safer barrier, and then watch this. It is going to shoot back out like a missile back across the tri-oval. And so Steve Korosek, I don't think he's getting that one back. Watch it in full speed. This caught my eye because it's a little interesting, and even the sound, one of those interesting damage model physics, but nonetheless, Steve Korosek got it fixed. He's back out. He did have to tow. Now John Mullihan, not sure if he had some trouble here during the caution. I believe this is just going to be a slowdown for the 2. Yeah, it looks like it is, as he just pulls to the inside, so he'll be okay as they all get back up to speed. But 7 laps to go. Looks like it's probably going to be about 5 when they get the restart. And we are going to catch it all. When we come back, going to take one more break. We will go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us for the conclusion of race 1 in the round of 16. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready for potentially the final start before overtime at least. And here we go, back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag in the air for Kevin Freese and Andrew Navarro. The top looks like going to get rolling a little bit better initially, but Navarro quickly going to start to make a comeback on the bottom as they all work their way through the gears. For the first time on this restart, Freese not quite able to get clear of the bottom. He'll stay out top, but I'm telling you, that top, they always roll the best on the first lap on the back straightaway when they're organized. And we have got 3 cars organized in both lanes. This is going to be a drag race down the back.
Yes, it is. The pushes are getting harder. The intensity ramping up. You already talked about the side draft. We saw it get closer on the last restart. Here this time, let's see how close they get. And the turn number 3, right down on the door. Right side's on the white dashed lines. Navarro a quick clear up in front of Kevin Freese. Makes it work now. Lima leads the bottom. George Bart, Cody Nagel's down there as well in the 6. He's back in this one. Close to the front one more time. Navarro saw the writing on the wall, though. Oh, my goodness. Almost another moment. Contact between the leaders in the tri-oval.
Oh, we're going to get wrecking out back here. Big one. The 68, first man into the wall. That's Damon Gilbert, but this is going to be the big one. Oh, is he? Oh, my goodness. T-bones Christopher McCall. Caution will wave. 5th one of the night with 4 laps to go. And if 68 wasn't destroyed before it, he certainly is now. David Sheets gets back rolling. John Ward has damage. There's Christopher McCall. I don't know how he's still rolling. Justin Mills. Dylan Jones has smoke out the back. And boy, they almost wrecked off of 4, and I got to think maybe that translated out back here a little bit. All right, so here we go. Oh, I think we're going to go to the chop review for this one right off the get-go. So you see that third line trying to get going. That's not where the issue starts here. Garrett, oh, yeah, this is going to start up front, I think. And maybe not so much. There's the issue. You see Lima is going to get up the track here just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of a push maybe that got him up. He maybe gets a little bit of contact with Navarro, but he saves it. And the issue starts back here. We'll show you that one more time. So you saw fire out of the pipes for the 5 of Baker, and that implies that outside was having a checkup. So Baker checks up. Well, you see Garrett first, then Baker checks up. The 68 not going to be able to, well, he tries to check up. I think he gets a little bit of help maybe from Dylan Jones. That puts him in the middle, and then there's a little bit of right rear net code. Actually, he does a good job of getting it straight, but yeah, it looks like maybe there's a little right rear net code on Christopher McCall. And so that's what sends him around into the pack. And then Jeff Merck trying to get through, can't do it. So he gets turned. There's the 0-2 of Logan York. Nowhere to go. Justin Mills. There's Brock Westmoreland back up the track. Jason Maines. The 72 of Tony Cox also involved in this one. And as you saw there, the 68. Not holding the brakes. That's one of those rookie mistakes you got to make sure you do here. And I think in this case, maybe he gets lucky. Christopher McCall was already heavily damaged, but if that would have been a clean car that he ran into, they would not have been very happy here. Yes, you see the suspension gets destroyed, but never touches the brakes or the wheel, and yeah, just pile drives Christopher McCall on the left side door. That was another hard hit. Says, as we take another look, let's go back to the TV follow cam. Again, that was initially, I felt like Dawson, tell me what you think here, but initially I felt like this was a heck of a save by the 68. I think if they don't netcode there, he straightens it out, but man, instead it ends in the big one.
It does, and I think it really started up front with the contact between Lima and Navarro. When they made contact, it caused both lines to check up. The outside, unfortunately, gets the worst of it, and there's just not much you can do as a driver when it checks up that fast. You're running so close to the guy in front of you, and man, right there, it causes a massive wreck. Some huge hits in that one. I'll tell you what, that's a lot of the playoff guys as well. Several playoff cars involved. One that was not, that somehow snuck through that wreck, if you'll go back, is Michael Triscaro. How in the world he did not get involved in this wreck, I have no clue.
Well, we saw Steve with a pretty close near miss, did not see Triscaro, and usually that's a good assumption to mean that it was just that close. So here we go, Michael Triscaro. I mean, it's right in front of him, but there you go. He gets on the brakes right away, and oh my goodness, he just misses Logan York, and then Brock Westmoreland coming down. Wow, you are not kidding. That's got my save of the night, maybe save of the season. Holy cow. Watch it here from a different angle if we can get one here from Michael Triscaro. See the 34? Now watch, they're going to start wrecking in front here. And he sees it and says, no, I'm going to go ahead and get right on the brakes. Not going to try to drive through this one off the get-go. And actually, he does get a little bit of damage. Jason Maines piles into the back of him, but looks like he netcodes through him. And then at this point, sometimes you got to have a little luck, and I think he gets quite a bit of it right there. And then to miss Brock Westerlund, man, close call. But if Michael Triscaro somehow finds a way to get into the money or wins this race, he's going to be looking back on that exact moment, knowing that that is what put him in this position. Back up front, lights go off. That means 1 to go, and we are going officially to overtime in the first race for the round of 16 here for the Tuesday Night Thunder playoffs. And it is Andrew Navarro who is up 8 positions in total tonight from where he started, leading the way. Zachary Lima in second on the outside. Kevin Freese back in third with George Bark on the outside in fourth. Garrett Maines fifth. Cody Nagel sixth. Matthew Baker in seventh. Brock Westerlund in eighth with Michael Triscaro ninth. And Jared Mogard rounding out your top 10. Boy, he's had a roller coaster of a night.
Yeah, he definitely has, but he's in a good spot now all of a sudden inside the top 10. Look at how many playoff guys are up here. I mean, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then back to Dylan Jones in 14th. A lot of playoff guys here right around the front of the field on a late restart. Who's willing to make the big move? Who's willing to jump out, go 3 wide, try to get the job done, knowing that if they get to victory lane, they don't have to worry next week. They will be in the round of 8. They will be racing in our final 8 for the championship. Let's see what lanes they're willing to go to get a victory here.
Yeah, notice Dawson Navarro. He's got himself a bit of a buffer here. Just a row, but hey, that could be enough here for only 2 laps. But that third lane, they're not done yet. It is going to form, and the question is going to be who is the first man to form it. I think it has to be Cody Nagels. The only problem I see right now is the damage to the 4-car of Brock Westerlund. It's on the rear bumper. However, he doesn't have one. So first of all, it's going to be tough to push. And also, we've actually seen that really slow cars down, weirdly enough. And if Brock Westerlund doesn't have the speed, that could really hurt this outside line. Maybe end Lima's chances and allow somebody like Garrett Maines or Matthew Baker to get clear from the inside, try to jump up, and all of a sudden, we could have that photo finish that we have seen time and time again. It's going to be a good one. Here we go.
Pace car is down. It'll be 2 laps to go. We get the green flag field in the hands of Andrew Navarro in the 44. The man to beat all season looks to get the job done again tonight. 3 wins. Can he make it 4? Into the restart zone they come. Green flag is in the air. 2 more times around Talladega if they can make it to the white flag. Up through the gears. Great start by Navarro. He's clear almost already here of Lima. What can they do on the outside? How much does the 4 cars damage affect him further back? How much will they roll? Navarro is clear. Now the question will be, can anybody else get clear? Where does Navarro go? Onto the super stretch here with 2 laps to go. Here comes the outside with Zach Lima.
Well, we've seen before, Navarro likes committing to a lane here with just a couple laps left, and right now he is well committed to the bottom, and it's a good choice. He's got 2 of the best behind him, Kevin Freese and Garrett Maines, but the top, more cars. Who is going to get the advantage? Still the inside into 3 as now there's a break further back. This will allow the front 8 to start to pull away out of turn 4.
Yeah, they're starting to scoot away. Here's the problem for these front 8. When these cars further back start to get a run, start to get hooked back up, they're going to have a whale of a run when they get there. And it's a bunch of playoff cars as well that have something to prove. Coming down to the white flag, they're going to make it one more time around Talladega.
Who is going to win it now? Navarro have to do a little bit of controlling of the lanes. Lima going to stay committed probably all the way out of 4, but now Navarro goes back low. Lima side drafting for all he's worth. How about the 54 of George Bark trying to do everything? He is looking for a money position. Now the third lane. They've got the run there. They're going to move to the top halfway down the back.
Cody Nagels, Logan York, Dylan Jones, some of our stage point winners. They've got to run. Can they get there into 3 and 4? They're going to have a look at this one, I think. York's got to keep pushing Navarro up to the middle. Here's the problem for Navarro. I think that kind of, that may hold him up a little bit. Off 4, here comes the 6.
Final gas out of 4. Here we go into the tribal. Cody Nagels, Logan York up top, Navarro in the middle, Kevin Freese on the bottom. They will drag race it all the way to the line. Bottom surges. Here comes the top. It is going to go to Cody Nagels. He steals it at the line by less than 1/100th of a second. Oh my goodness, what a win for Cody. Well, we've seen him do it before when he won his 2nd NSRA championship, and he makes it happen in overtime here in the first race of the playoffs. He is going to be excited after that one. I cannot believe he got it done, and maybe with one of the most unlikely suspects and a guy that maybe he doesn't get along with too well, but one of the best pushers, and that's Logan York. Pushes him all the way to victory. He's going to be thanking him for that one as wow. They absolutely demolished Logan here on the cooldown lap, but a great victory for Cody, and he has now locked himself into the round of 8.
What a win for the driver of the 6, and all credit for that win to Dylan Jones and Logan York up top. I'm with you. I have no clue. When they split out, I thought for sure the bottom was going to be the place to be and they were going to win the race, but Andrew Navarro almost inexplicably moves up. He had help behind him in Kevin Freese and Garrett Maines, and I think they were going to stay to him most of the way home there, especially Freese, not much to race for, knows what Navarro's in there for, and Navarro goes up, and unfortunately it's his downfall, and Cody Nagel steals one away in the dying moments.
So here we go. This is the view from the restart cam coming to the line. I thought for sure the bottom had it, and especially here within the last 100 feet or so, you see that actually, go to a different view, widen that out. Dylan Jones actually gets into a little bit here with Michael Triscaro as Triscaro tries to pull out a line, maybe see if he can gain another spot, and usually that would kill the run because they only have 2. Both other lanes have 3 to 4, but it doesn't. Logan York was able to stay glued onto the bumper for just long enough, and I mean, boy, we said he did not get it by much, and I am not kidding you. We have to go back to the restart cam and slow this down even more if we can. Man, we're going to go frame by frame for this. I wonder if this was... Oh my goodness, it was so close. Boy, if he got it, he did not get it by much. Well, we know he got it, but he did not get it by much. Look at that. Man, I cannot tell a difference from that view. To me, it almost looks like Kevin Freese is slightly ahead. Yeah, I mean, you see in that frame, Kevin is slightly ahead. However, that's just past the line. So, Cody may have just lost it. Man, that was so incredibly close, Dawson.
Yeah, it was. My scoring's got the 6. I don't know about yours, but my official scoring has the 6. I'm not sure. It's going to be really interesting, I guess.
Now, looking at the results here, the results have it as the 25 of Kevin Freese. So maybe before we go through the official results here, we'll have to go get word from race control. We know that 1-2 is going to be Freese and Nagels. It's just a matter of what that order is. We'll get that in a minute. Andrew Navarro finishes up in 3rd. Garrett Maines in 4th. Logan York 5th. Zachary Lima in 6th. Matthew Baker 7th. George Bark in 8th. Dylan Jones 9th. John Ward 10th. Michael Triscaro in 11th. Christopher McCall in 12th. Mark Vondell 13th. Steve Karosik in 14th. Tucker McClendon in 15th. David Sheet finishes in 16th. Jason Maines in 17th. Brock Westmoreland back in 18th with Jared Mogard in 19th. And Justin Mills rounding out the top 20. It's going to be Tony Cox 21st. Damon Gilbert 22nd. Ken McCall Jr. 23rd. Jeff Merck 24th with John Mullahan 25th. And Ron Morris Jr., well, actually not in the race, so 25th. Going to be your last car on the field here tonight. And yeah, Dawson, from the look of it, it looks like it's Kevin here, but we're going to have to go get official word. So we'll do that and get your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, your official winner after review from race control is Kevin Freese in 25. So close that even our scoring couldn't quite figure it out, and there you go. It came down to 1,000th of a second. The gap that Kevin Freese beats Cody Nagels out, and we'll get to them in just a moment. First, starting with your third place finisher here tonight, Dawson Wise stands by with Andrew Navarro in the 44 machine.
Yeah, I do. Hey, Andrew, it's the boys up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
What a wild race it was tonight for sure, for even playoff guys and non-playoff guys alike. Nonetheless, you come out of the other end of it, 3rd. It's a great run for you. You had a buffer coming in tonight as it was. So now that you got a 3rd place run under your belt, we go into next week. And most importantly for you, a playoff guy did not win tonight. Nobody's locked in, which means you'll remain the points leader after tonight. How are you feeling after a 3rd place effort?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. We actually got some bonus points today, which is something we hadn't done in a while. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with it. Thought I could have played out the last lap a little bit better to win. But I knew I had to get in the middle if I wanted to have any shot to win because the third lane was just coming. So, yeah, definitely had an interesting one. Racing on the new setup for the first time. So, it was a lot of fun.
Well, absolutely. And kind of take us through that new setup. We talked to drivers about it over the past several days and kind of gotten an idea of what the update has done, whether that's to the setup, whether that's to the track conditions. Kind of take us through what felt different tonight out there on the racetrack that may have contributed to the style of racing that we saw.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot looser. You don't feel as bound up in the entry of the corner, so you can really get the third lane started. It just feels like everything's a little bit more gridlocked. You get really hot really fast, and I think that's just a iRacing change. That's not even about the setup. But the setup's very interesting because you could just randomly bumper hook people, which is very odd. But when it's working, man, it's working, and we're hauling ass down the backstretch. So really a fun one.
Yeah, it definitely was. And after all of the smoke clears, you come home in third. It's a great run for you. You're looking really good in the points going on to next week. So while we've got you for a second, anybody like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Celebrity Cruises, Adrenaline Captures, Premier Racing Setups, 7 Seas, Martin Sports, you guys for broadcasting, and Ron for putting on the league.
All right. Well, thanks for taking a second to talk to us. Congratulations on a fantastic run tonight, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you.
And now I stand by with our second place finisher tonight, Mr. Cody Nagels. Cody, it's the boys in the booth. You get a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, what a wild race. What a crazy end of that one. A crazy last 2 laps. First off, you got to take us through how you guys even made this a race. The third line was a little ways back going into turn number 3. Somehow you guys get up alongside the leaders. You come up a little bit short. Regardless, to even get in the picture, what did you have to do on that last 2 laps?
All credit goes to the guys that were behind me. Logan York pushing. I think it was Dylan Jones behind him. I mean, them guys are the ones that made the line roll. I was just, I was along for the ride at that point.
Well, absolutely you were. You come home with a second place finish tonight. You were pretty well down in the standings. Not a ton of bonus points coming into the playoffs, but this is an outstanding run for you. You get stage points. Now you get a second place finish as well. Certainly a jump on some of the other playoff drivers here tonight. So take me through how this changes your mindset going into next week, knowing you got a little bit of extra room to work with.
I think just as crazy as RMR has been all season, I really can't take my foot off the pedal. I'm going to have to go into next week. Probably more so aggressive than I was this week. Honestly, I got stage points and a good finish, but I had to be pretty conservative for most of the race because I think I got inadvertently ARCA braked early and I had 4 minutes of optional, took my fast repair, sat in the back and just let the laps wind down and decided to just kind of be meticulous with the moves I made and just making sure that I didn't put myself in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it worked out.
Well, definitely did. A second place finish for you tonight has you in a really great points position going into next week's round of 16 finale. So while we've got you here for a second, anybody like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I gotta thank you guys at Ghost Racing Network for putting on a good broadcast, Ron for putting the league on, and gotta thank my Dale Cup teammates, Steve and Lima, for running with me tonight.
All right. Well, congratulations on a second place finish. A fantastic run for you tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
And now that'll bring us to your winner here tonight, Kevin Freeze. Kevin, this is Austin and Cody in the booth. You got a copy. Or excuse me, not Cody, Dawson. Well, I'm good, man. I'll tell you what. I'm stuck on what I'm watching here, the finish, and that's because I got to apologize. I messed up the call I thought Cody wanted. It was that close, 1,000th of a second, the gap that you beat out the 6-car by. How did you pull that off at the line?
I honestly thought Cody won it too because I was looking out my right side window and I'm like, I think he got it. And then I looked down and it said 1. I was pretty surprised. Can't thank Garrett enough there for the pushes. I don't know how he stayed with me on the backstretch because we didn't have much help there on the bottom. But this was a fun race. These cars were a bit of a handful sometimes when you were pushing. You'd get that random little bumper hook going. But it was, super tight 3 wide racing during that. You can't ask for much more.
Yeah, you certainly can't, not from a broadcaster's perspective either. However, we know you're not in the playoffs, but you get the win tonight. Now, next week, going to be cutoff race. Does the perspective shift a little bit? Do you focus on maybe trying to help a teammate or a guy that you've worked with all season more, or do you try to make it back-to-back?
Yes. Do both. You gotta help your teammates as much as you can, and all those guys who have pushed you around. That's why it's so important around these types of races to make friends, not build an enemy list, because you're going to need that push from somebody at a very important time, and you want to know that it's there and work with people. And so I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that we can lock some stuff up, take care of people, and also get the best finish for myself.
Certainly got the best finish possible here tonight. Before we let you head out, enjoy your winnings. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, huge thanks again to Garrett for the huge pushes there at the line. That was surprising, but a ton of fun, because I mean, I don't know how many times we've seen the bottom lane actually pull out a 3-wide finish like that with the run the top had. So I can't thank him enough, and Baker, who came behind him, and thanks to all the drivers for keeping that one a really clean finish. I mean, I think everybody was pushing all out, and we kept it clean. Thanks to Ron for doing the race control again tonight. He came back after doing the 500 the other night, if you can believe it. And thank you to you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Well, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the win, and we will see you out here next week.
Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoy your night.
Certainly will. And Kevin Freeze, you know he's going to enjoy his well. Man, Dawson, I think you could tell from the attitude of the drivers, it was a fun one for them to race tonight. It was a fun one to watch. And, man, I cannot wait to see what we got next week.
Absolutely. We want to set the tone for a playoff run. That's the way you do it. It is just a heck of a race, wire to wire. It felt like there was always something going on, always action, always something to watch, and that's all you could ever hope for out of these super speedway races, and certainly a great one tonight. Can't wait to see where we go from here.
We will be back next Tuesday for race number 2 of the round of 16. Make sure you don't miss out. It'll be an elimination race and elimination of championship hopes for 8 drivers. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed, and until next time, have a good night.